report, we have a motion and report from Councillor Sampson and Councillor Bennett regarding Business and Retail Crime Response Forum. Councillor Sampson or Councillor Bennett?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thanks very much, Mayor Yu, and thanks to Councillor Bennett. I'll pass it over to you next. Councillor Bennett and I originally brought this notice of motion forward in response to the growing concerns we're hearing from the business community, not just based on theft or retail crime, but also violence in the retail space, where frontline workers are experiencing increasingly dangerous work environments. The city doesn't have a direct jurisdiction over policing or prosecution, but we do have a role to play in that. We oversee, primarily we oversee locally the RCMP budget, and we liaise with them. And although we don't direct their work, we do communicate with them regularly, share what we're hearing as a municipality, and help inform the efforts that they're providing in our community. We also have a duty to, I believe, and I think Councillor Bennett believes, to bridge those gaps to help bring together city resources, the resources that we have connection to with the RCMP, and provincial resources with our local business community when they're not seeing that support. Council has had multiple discussions. Councillor Bennett and I first with this major retailer in Prince George, and then Council's had the chance to meet a few times now with this major retailer, in which they've been sharing their challenges operating in our community and other communities across the province, and looking for opportunities to help lessen those challenges. Commitment, or a loose commitment, I should say, that Council made to that major retailer was that we could help liaise conversations with them and the RCMP, and something that Councillor Bennett and I felt was important was that two things. One, that the commitments made in that in those conversations were brought to the council table for council to formalize, so staff could actually act on it, because as we know, decisions and comments made at outside this room aren't acted upon. And then two, that if we are going to offer something like that to a specific retailer, that it be broader and offered to the business community and the retail community more broadly, so it's not seen as favoring any one organization. This also ties in with the ongoing lobbying that we've been doing to the province, primarily through the Intergovernmental Affairs Committee. Recently, we were on a trip to Victoria where we did extensive lobbying around bail reform, repeat property offenders, public safety challenges, and the list goes on. And I think this ties directly into that, because these conversations are the ground, are talking about the issues on the ground, and that's the information that we're trying to bring forward to the province. And so in a forum like we've proposed here, that we can discuss these issues with the RCMP, with the province, and with the retailers providing those services in our community, it helps inform the province further, rather than just a group of us going to Victoria banging the drum. It shows those frontline voices bringing those issues forward as well, and we're helping facilitate that conversation with this motion. However, today, Councillor Bennett and I had I'd say, productive conversation with MLA Kyle Giddens, who shared with us that these three MLAs are hearing the exact same things that I just mentioned. They're having the same conversations, they're seeing the same challenges, and they've been working on a similar response and are working towards hosting a similar forum in the fall. And so rather than duplicating that work, we've pivoted slightly. Councillor Bennett and I talked, and we've got an amendment to the proposed motion. You'll see in red what was previously on the notice of motion, and we've amended this to be different. And the gist here is that we would support the MLAs in the forum that they're looking to host. We believe this is primarily based in the provincial jurisdiction, and if they would like to take the lead, that's great, but we want to make sure that we participate in a way that gets the challenges that we're experiencing and seeing across in a supportive way. So I think this kind of is the best of both worlds. We get the higher elevated provincial view, and we still get to bring those issues forward that we've been hearing about. So
thank you.
Our proposed recommendations are as below. One, we acknowledge this, and that we're trying to share with you today that the MLAs have told us that they're working on this. We'd like council to hear that and see it. But primarily, number two speaks to how we would, rather than host and facilitate ourselves, we would support them in facilitating their own forum by providing any resources that staff seem appropriate while working with the MLA's offices. So pass it over to Councillor Bennett, but to get on the floor, I'll move the two recommendations together, and
I'll second.
And then over to Councillor Bennett.
Councillor Bennett.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. And again, I think this conversation originally started at UBCM. I had the opportunity. You had a jam-packed schedule, so I happened to be acting mayor that month and had the opportunity to meet with a major retailer who wanted to speak about the concerns that they were having in our community, but more also to introduce us to their representatives from Victoria who are running very successful pilots between the municipality, the RCMP, and the retailer around not only loss prevention, but around how do we ensure the safety of our community members, staff members, because we are seeing a spike in negative behavior in retail establishments. Again, MLA Giddens happened to catch me on the phone as I was driving here to City Hall today, and spoke about that, they're also hearing the exact same things from the business community, and that they are looking to take action as well. So as Councillor Sampson said, they are further down the road in terms of planning an event in September. And, to be respectful, we talk a lot about the fact that this is, we have the role of advocacy, we have the role of representing our community, but a lot of these issues also rest in provincial jurisdiction. So I think it's important that there's also only one taxpayer. So if the provincial government and our MLAs are willing to help support this work, and this is a level where it belongs, then I would encourage my colleagues to support this motion, because it allows us to continue to move the conversation forward and support our MLAs who will be coordinating this opportunity in September.
Thank you. Councillor Palillo.
Your Worship, I like where this recommendation is going, the amended recommendation. With the first recommendation, I did have some concerns about staff time and putting more work on a very busy agenda for them. I also had some concerns about cost. There was nowhere in the report that I don't see it to be a huge cost, but now with this pivot, I would imagine that if not all the cost, would be absorbed by the three local MLAs. And maybe just some reference to either Councillor Sampson or Councillor Bennett that want to ask or want to answer this question. In terms of consultation, I know you mentioned the one major realtor or retailer that you consulted with, but I wonder if there was any consultation with DBIA or the Chamber of Commerce on the previous motion.
No, thank you, Your Worship, through to Councillor Palillo. I think that's a great question. There was some previous conversation with the previous executive director of DBIA. We have, to be honest, had not had a conversation with the new DBIA president, Downtown Prince George president. I know that the president of the board of Downtown Prince George has been very vocal to council, as you know, over the last couple of years around what council can do. I know he's also been present and has spoken to the Committee on Public Safety. In terms of the chamber, personally, I did not have a conversation with their executive director. I do know that in conversation with MLA Giddens that the chamber, to my understanding, the chamber is involved in this initiative.
I also had thoughts that maybe, some of this work could be directed through the Public Safety Committee. But the fact that you've amended this recommendation and that you're working with the local MLAs, I like that where it's going. And with the amended recommendation, I will be supporting it. I think it's very smart and prudent that we work together with them, and for them, if they're already planning to do it, is, for them to do most of the organization and hopefully incur most of the costs. And then our staff and the city can support, where we are with it as well. So I'll be supporting the amended recommendation, Your Worship.
Thank you.
May I respond to one?
Sure.
And I do appreciate your point, Councillor Palillo, around the work of the standing committee. I know we've seen a few recommendations come forward. One of the reasons, and I'll let Councillor Sampson speak to if he wishes, one of the reasons why we didn't have this go to the committee is because the commitment of this connection between retailers and the RCMP was a commitment made when council had met with this one in particular retailer. And we just felt that then if it went back to the Public Safety Committee, who then had to bring a recommendation to council, we were just delaying the process even further. And I know that commitment had been made a few months ago now. So we were trying not to just create added bureaucracy for the sake of added bureaucracy. But it would be interesting. I know we've had a couple recommendations through, but it would be interesting to get a report from the committee in terms of other initiatives they're working on, so we don't create duplication and we can continue to support the work of the committee. I don't know.
I appreciate. No? Yeah, I appreciate that response. Yeah.
Councillor Ramsey.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have no concerns with the changes to the amended motion that were discussed. A couple years ago, former Councillor Murray Krause and I worked on the poverty reduction strategy, and I'm bringing it up because it is. I think there's something out of that report that is quite relevant in that it used this model to identify the city's role in a lot of things like this. And the words it used were act, facilitate, and advocate. And I thought that framework was really well done because it highlighted that there might not always be action that the city can take if something's not in our jurisdiction, but there's opportunities for facilitation. And so I had pulled the definition that the poverty reduction strategy that the city has adopted uses, and it says the city plays an important role as facilitator, convener, and partner to align community action on shared goals. The city may work with non-municipal entities, i.e. the private sector, not-for-profits, service providers, etc., to align community action on shared goals. The city's facilitation of collective work is focused on guiding vision and strategy, supporting aligned activities, establishing shared measurement, building public will, advancing policy, and mobilizing funding. So for me, I think that I can see shared vision with the original motion. So I was on board from the get-go. And I think additionally within the recommended recommendations of that poverty reduction strategy, we also see that there's a recommendation that the city support development of a navigation hub that will be able to help people access services and supports. So within that report for our poverty reduction strategy, we are saying that it is the city's role to facilitate navigation to services and supports. And so I think looking at that function there, it really makes the case for why we should be supporting this, and that it's not necessarily our job to act, but as a facilitator, as a convener, I think that this does make a lot of sense for us to make that connection. And a lot of times I hear, oh, I've gone to the wrong person, who can resolve this request, so often. And so I think if we're able to get people in a room and convene to help them make those connections, it's going to make it easier when they're resolving issues as they happen. So I see a lot of benefit in supporting this, and so I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Fussell.
Thank you, Mayor Yu, and thanks to Councillor Sampson and Councillor Councillor Bennett.
Benefit.
Sorry about that, for bringing this forward. When you discussed the changes for the motion, I understood it. I'm just rereading this now, and I think there's a word or two missing. It says, directs administration to liaise with and partner where appropriate with the 3 local MLA offices to coordinate and support their proposed forum currently in development, and to endeavors that, and I think the word support, that support the intent behind the original notice of motion or promote the intent behind the original. I think there's a verb missing there, an action word, and then the last part of the sentence, I'm not sure what. I don't want to wordsmith, but I'm not understanding this, and I wanted to make sure that there's not something missing.
That's my fault. Originally, endeavors was ensures, and I pivoted and changed endeavors so it doesn't lock staff in, but I didn't change the sentence because it was the last minute before the meeting started. Okay. So I did not wordsmith the entire sentence, and that's my bad. So I can go back and fix the grammar on that.
Ensures was?
Ensures was it, and I changed it to endeavors to make sure we didn't tie hands to say, staff, you have to carry forward every detail here. It's to say, this is where we started, and we'd like to see that you use this as your guiding principle. So the sentence structure is wrong because I changed one word without.
That helps me to understand. Yep. Thanks. And through to Mr. Babich, then the meaning behind the resolution is pretty clear. What would the interpretation be around budget? Oh, sure. Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Yeah, sorry, I'm focusing in on the last part of recommendation 2 without me knowing the cost or what the appropriate staff support and resources is. It's really hard for me to advise council as to whether or not this can be absorbed within the existing budget and what the expectation is of administration. Is this $500, $5,000, $50,000? How to the wall are we supposed to be going? Does that make sense?
It does.
I'm looking for some clarity.
That answers the question I had on my mind. Yeah. What is the range that you're proposing with the motion through to Councillor Bennett or Councillor Sampson?
I'll take it first, and then Councillor Bennett can jump in if he wants. The intent is that the MLAs are working on a forum at the same time as we were putting this motion forward. Now, in conversation with MLA Giddens, we think it's best suited that we don't have competing forums or forums that are duplicates that are running at the same time, that we support them in what they're doing and bring forward some of our perspectives or issues as a city and help join in. The intent here is that if they need we're giving a lot of latitude here to staff for staff to help figure that out. But our understanding is that this forum is being worked on and underway with the MLAs. The intent is that if staff find out the MLAs don't yet have a facility concrete booked, that they can say, maybe we have space at the Civic Center and we can provide a good rate because the city's a partner on what the city would typically pay internally, and we can offer that rate. And the offsetting of that from the fees and charges bylaw is absorbed within our existing budget. Those types of things. If there's any staff time spent on this, liaising, making sure that some of these details are in, saying, hey, we're going to help make sure the RCMP are at the table. Those types of things are staff time that's equated to the existing budget. So it's not meant to be, let's go out and hire a $20,000 facilitator. It's meant to be, we have resources and experience in supporting events, and any costs associated with that just get absorbed in. So if we have somebody from Mr. Depino's department with bylaw participating, that gets absorbed in, if that's appropriate. If it's somebody from the PG events group saying, hey, we're going to help make sure that you have your facilities booked, that time gets lumped in.
I think the other advantage, Your Worship, that we have is we have an incredibly talented communications team that could help amplify the message of this out. Looking at Facebook alone, we have 24,000 followers on our Facebook. We have our super subscribers. We have numerous communication messages that could help amplify this voice. So again, I would necessarily not see this budget being we're going out and buying Nymel bars or other snacks for the session, but more we're utilizing facility potentially is the one cost, but it's how do we then utilize some of our staff time to make this run as smoothly as possible in the area, something like communications.
Right.
Sure, and I don't want to harp on this too much. I just want to make sure that administration isn't criticized for doing too little, too much, spending not enough, spending too much. Some criteria would help.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you for the clarity, and thank you to the councillors for adjusting as they learn more on the ground. That flexibility is important. As I'd talked to you before, I was going to ask that this be referred back to the Public Safety Committee. I think the Public Safety Committee that Mayor Yu has put together for similar reasons would be a good venue to discuss this as well. But I also just want to take what Mr. Dalio says. You can accomplish what you want, councillors, with that first line, directing administration to liaise with and partner where appropriate. So I'm just going to go ahead and move that we eliminate that last sentence. And if there's a seconder, then my amendment would be that we take out that from and onwards, and you'll still be able to accomplish all the goals you've just discussed.
Do we have a seconder?
Just before I second, can you explain why you would take that out? Is it simply because to give Mr. Dalio?
Because it specifically says that any necessary costs associating would be absorbed. And so I think around the horn, we've had a discussion that first sentence would cover what Councillors Sampson and Bennett have discussed without us committing to spending any necessary costs associated.
All right.
So that's my intent. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would second that.
Thank you. Second, we have an amendment to the motion number 2 on the floor. Councillor Sampson.
Thanks, Mayor. You would staff interpret that they have no money to spend at all to participate in that case?
Your Worship, I think we would interpret that to be in-kind support only. So that would be staff time and anything that's non-monetary, Worship.
Do we consider, if they're looking for a facility, do we consider that monetary, a civic facility?
Mr. Beasley, I believe we would, as we would have an internal transfer typically for that.
That's correct, Your Worship.
Okay. Just to be fair, for the argument's sake, I think if the amendment on the floor failed, I would like to see if the mover second that be okay to separate the number 1 and number 2 for another vote as well.
Do that.
Yeah, because there is some clarity issue regarding the money to be spent, and but first of all, I just want to inform the public that the council, city council here, we do take this issue very, very seriously. We have discussed this issue in the Public Safety Committee, and so we have invited local retailers come to give us a report. I have personally visited various retailers to understand the issues. To my understanding, so right now the non-violent crime in those locations are down, but the violence, repeat offenders number still is way too high for our to an acceptable level. With that, anything to do with the next level of government, whether it's through the MLA, through opposition, obviously this probably be too late to formulate some kind of a resolution to get to the UBCM. But I really liked also this item, regardless the vote, to be discussed, and perhaps an item to be discussed on the intergovernmental committee, and to see if a certain type of advocacy can take place that coordinated efficiently and with the appropriate people, looking at this thing and give us the real solution. It is a big issue right now. So with that, I would like to, Councillor Ramsey, you want to speak?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just am wondering if it's possible, just wondering timing-wise, for if there is a monetary value associated with this request, can it come back to council? I just don't want us to to see this die here
It's not
because
die.
we don't have a clear picture of what multiple third parties are kind of working on. So I just,
That absolutely we can.
I'm happy to support the motion to take it out if my colleagues feel better
Yeah,
supporting
but
it, but I just.
we can definitely bring it back, during the consultation with the three MLA's office. And if there's a specific request for make this forum a positive one, and that will result in some kind of action. RCMPs, they do work for us. We as a city, we hire RCMPs. We do not direct the detailed operations. But I believe that since this matter had been brought forward a few months ago, improvement has been made. But perhaps it's due to the summer season. We need to continue to work on it. So with that, I would like to call the motion on the floor to amendment to number 2 to take out the last sentence. All in favor? Oppose? Carried. So the motion 1 and 2 is now on the floor is without the last sentence to commit the city to a specific money item until we hear otherwise. We can bring it back. Yeah. So the motion is on the floor right now. Oh, Councillor Sampson, you want to speak?
Great, thanks. I just thought I'd add some clarity. The original notice of motion before this amendment, and even today, Councillor Bennett and I discussed this. The intent was to spend as little as money possible. We don't want to spend a great deal of money. Okay. We want to bring together the resources that are available. Having the RCMP attend costs nothing. Having requesting the province attend costs nothing. Yep. It does cost staff time, but those types of things absolutely. But we were not looking to spend a great deal of money having an expensive facilitator. So even with this amendment, after talking to the MLA today, recognizing that they're intending to spend the money to host this, the cost would be little. My only concern moving forward is that if the city needs to participate in some way with a financial contribution at all, whether it's $200 or whatever, that's a challenge without any sort of allowance to staff to make a discretionary decision on that. So that's my only concern. Is the intent behind our wording today was to give staff the discretion as professionals to participate in a meaningful way, recognizing that it is being hosted by the MLAs. The cost is primarily borne by the MLAs, and we just want to be a meaningful participant. So I'm not sure. In kind's great. That's fantastic. Hopefully that suits the needs.
Okay.
Thanks.
We have a motion on the floor, but may I suggest that we, as a council, we still have $3,500 in the contingency fund, right? Correct?
I believe you have 32.5. There's a report for Q2 as of June 30th. That's 35,000. But in the earlier July meeting, we did another $2,500.
Thank you. And also we are. This is a matter important to the public, important to us. But we still got 4 months to go. We can always come back at any moment when the request comes. They need some kind of financial support, that we as a council can dip into the funds to support this particular forum. With that, okay? I'm going to call the question 1 and 2 recommendation as presented without the question. Councillor Frizzell, Class want to speak. Thank you.
Yes, just a question through to staff. I'm just looking at the wording again of the recommendation as proposed and as amended. Just looking at the wording, and that ensures that the intent behind the original notice of motion, does that preclude or exclude information that has been gained at the Public Safety Committee? Because I don't want to see us working at cross purposes or duplicating work. And will there be an ability to coordinate that information?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, administration will take all of the information that it's received, regardless of whether it's from the Public Safety Committee, Council, RCMP, other sources, and consider all of that when meeting the intent of the resolution here, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have
and I did send an amended text version to Ms. Kellett.
Thank you. Councillor Frizzell, you want to? Yeah, go ahead.
Just a final thought on this. This is Thanks for bringing up the connection to the MLAs, because of course we've got the intergovernmental bond, and one of the lines that we passed last September was the priorities annually include timely public safety responses that address immediate needs and root causes. And that, of course, is the Lheidli T'enneh, it's a regional district, it's the MLAs and the MPs. So I think this has a wider audience.
Thank you. And also, just to remind the public and the council, we do have a MOU that we signed together with all levels of government, and with Lheidli T'enneh to work on issues just such as this. They're important to all of us. Okay, with that, amended recommendation 1 and 2 on the floor. All in favor? Opposed? Opposed online? Carried. Thank you.